Chapter 41, Strong Zeng. You are listening at novelfull.audio. With a knockout like that in his arms, Xia couldn't help but notice. Zeng's body swayed against him, which only made things worse. He felt like he was burning up. Hold still, or I might just gobble you up. Oh, you wouldn't dare. That sassy comment from Zeng lit a fire under Xia. That night, Xia pulled out all his pent-up energy from the past 18 years. He had never felt so alive. Every inch of him was tingling, and the ancient Buddha relic in his core began to glow, radiating intense heat. The heat surged through his entire being. The next morning, Zeng was up early, whipping up a breakfast for Summer. After getting up, he practiced a bit in the yard. I can't believe I actually broke through. The heavenly awakening art is at stage 2. He knew it had to do with the previous night. He'd only been working on the heavenly awakening art for 3 days, and already it had leaped to the second level. The speed was insane. Most people would spend 10 years just to reach the first level, but Summer had reached the second in just 3 days. He was already naturally gifted with a strong, masculine build, and the ancient Buddha relic only amplified that. This young energy had been bottled up, and Zeng's passion had finally balanced it out. That explained his rapid progress. The breakthrough doubled Xia's speed and strength. Damn it, that little widow Zeng is still alive. What's Quicksand doing? They said they'd take care of her once they got paid. How is Zeng still walking around? Hey, go find out what's up. Zeng has to go. Once she's gone, we split the equity equally. The 5 elders of the Zeng family held the highest positions and represented the family's interests. While the Zeng family lacked political clout, they held considerable sway in the business world and throughout Jianghai City. Zeng played a crucial role in the family's success, and the 5 elders' prestige in Jianghai City was largely due to her influence. Recently, they'd sensed that people weren't genuinely respecting them but were merely being polite to Zeng. Her position within the Zeng family had surpassed theirs. Even members of the Zeng family with smaller stakes were more inclined to listen to Zeng because her guidance brought them the most reliable returns. I just contacted the agency. The hitman will be here soon. When someone knocks on the conference room door, we let them in. Good thinking, that way we can deny any involvement. With Xiao Tian being cared for by Wang Ma, Summer accompanied Zeng to the Zeng Group, a major cosmetics company whose products were sold worldwide. Their ads were everywhere. Zeng was dressed in a classy business suit, while Xia was wearing casual clothes. The contrast was striking. As soon as they entered the company, all eyes were on Summer. Why is there a slob following Ms. Zeng? Did he sneak in behind her? Someone call security and have him removed. The chatter was non-stop. Don't you all have work to do? No vacation this month. Zeng said sternly, showing her tough side at the office. Seeing her like that, Xia shook his head. He knew she was angry and cancelled their vacation because of what they said about him. Zeng's strength was all about protecting herself and those she cared about. Xia followed Zeng into the conference room, where everyone else had already gathered. The 5 elders were seated on either side of the table, with the other shareholders in order. The atmosphere was charged. Who are you? Who let you in here? I did, Zeng replied coldly. Ms. Zeng, I'm afraid that's against protocol. I'm the CEO. If I say it's okay, Zeng stated firmly. We're discussing confidential company matters. If any secrets get out, who's responsible? He's with me. Figure it out. Zeng publicly claimed Xia as her own. Did I hear that right? Our widowed CEO has a thing for toy boys. One of the 5 elders sneered. If he's a toy boy, what does that make you? Zeng looked at the elder with contempt. Zeng, don't push your luck. We 5 old-timers have the final say in the Zeng family. As long as we're alive, you don't get to run wild, another elder retorted. People with 1 foot in the grave are embarrassing themselves by mentioning the Zeng family to me. Zeng glanced at everyone present. I've already repaid the Zeng family for everything over the years. I don't owe you anything. Are you saying you want to leave the Zeng family? No, Zeng is my last name. I just want the rest of the Zeng family to pick a side. Zeng Ro, are you sure you want to go against us five? Don't think I don't know what you've been up to, car accidents, kidnappings, assassinations, all you're doing. Since you've gone this far, you should accept the consequences. What are you talking about? We have no idea what you're talking about. You guys are really gutless. You can dish it out, but you can't take it. Ms. Zeng, I hope you can clarify what's happening. As directors, we have a right to know about the company's interests, a director with a foreign surname demanded. They usually stayed out of company affairs, but when their interests were threatened, they had to speak up. If Zeng Ro died, Zeng Group's stock would plummet. Simple. Some people want me dead, and some people want to screw you over. Five elders, I think we deserve an explanation. The foreign director's shares amounted to 15%, a considerable stake. Don't listen to her nonsense. Some people will believe anything the widow says. Look at her bringing that gigolo to the conference room. What is that? Another of the five elders chimed in. That guy is a nobody. The clothes he's wearing aren't even worth $100. What makes him think he's worthy of being in the same room as people worth millions? Chapter 42, I#039, am not good. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Look at him, 17, maybe 18. Barely got a beard. And don't forget, older folks get lonely. Mr. Zeng, no offense, but if you're looking for action, go out and find it. If this gets out, it'll ruin the Zeng family's reputation. The five elders of the Zeng family chimed in, mocking Zeng Roxiao. You old geezers, watch your mouths, Zeng Ro glared at the three men. Maybe you should watch your behavior. Okay, that's all you've got. Zeng Ro glanced at the five elders, then threw documents onto the table, into their hands. Take a good look. They opened the files and stared at Wu Lao, stunned. It was evidence of Wu Lao's smuggling and his other illegal activities over the years. The five of them had even done some really low, shameful stuff. The criminal evidence was listed item by item. Zeng Ro, you're making this up. The head of the Zeng family slammed the document on the table, glaring at Zeng Ro. Am I? You'll find out soon enough. The court summons will be in your hands today, and the key witness will be in court the day after tomorrow. You can argue with the judge then. Zeng Ro looked coldly at the five elders. Five elders, I think we deserve an explanation, the foreign shareholders said, all eyes on the five elders. Even the Zeng family members who held a mere 4% of the shares stared strangely at them. Don't believe this nonsense. She fabricated it all, the head of the Zeng family quickly said. Exactly. Zeng Ro wants to coddle her boy toy. She even brought him to the meeting. How can we trust someone like that? Zeng Jialao said immediately. Maybe this boy toy kidnapped our President Zeng and forced her to do it. The third son of the Zeng family, always the most insidious, chimed in. The other elders watched, amused. Boy toy, you must have some dirt on Mr. Zeng, like incriminating evidence, or videos. The third son tried to shift the focus to Xia Xia. He knew Zeng Ro was well respected, and attacking her head-on wouldn't work. He planned to use Xia Xia to suggest that Zeng Ro's morals were compromised. Is that all you old guys have? Resorting to desperate measures? Zeng Ro looked at them with disdain. Boy toy, speak up if you dare. Admit it. You threaten Zeng Ro and want to bring down our clan. The third son continued, staring at Xia Xia. Everything I'm doing has nothing to do with him. If you have a problem, come at me, Zeng Ro snapped at the five elders. For you. The third Zeng family smiled evilly. Alright, we're impeaching you right now. You're no longer qualified to be the CEO of the Zeng Group. You have to step down, and sell us your shares for 1,000,000%, that this was the five elders' real goal. They wanted Zeng Rou's shares. 1,000,000 for 1% of the shares. Everyone was shocked. Given the Zeng group's wealth, that was practically giving them away. How generous of you. But after you're arrested, I won't pay a cent for your shares. I'll distribute them among the talented members of the family. Zeng Rou's approach was more appealing to those present than the five elders' schemes. The five elders wanted to take Zeng Rou's wealth for themselves, but Zeng Rou intended to share her shares. You. The five elders slammed their hands on the table, glaring at Zeng Rou. Hey, are you guys done yet? Xia Tian, who'd been sitting quietly beside Zeng Rou, suddenly spoke up. Who are you? You don't have the right to speak here. The head of the Zeng family roared at Xia. If we get rid of these five old guys, will the trouble be over? Xia asked Zeng Rou. Xia Tian, don't do anything rash. We're only 2 days away from bringing them down, Zeng Rou said. She knew Xia was powerful, but she didn't want him causing trouble. I can't wait 2 more days. I figure once the client's dead, quicksand won't work for them anymore. Xia stood and walked toward the five elders. Xia Tian, don't. Zeng Rou called out. Boy toy, what are you doing? The five elders looked warily at Xia, unnerved by the word quicksand. Anyone who knew about quicksand was no ordinary person. Zeng Rou, I see it now. He's a hitman you hired. You want to kill us. The third son shouted. Everyone else eyed Xia suspiciously, *snap, *a crisp slap. You talk too much. You dare hit me. The third son, hand on his cheek, raged, *snap, *. I'll hit you, so what? Xia slapped him again. You. Snap. What, you? I. Snap. What, I, *snap, *. A series of slaps echoed through the room, leaving everyone speechless. They'd all looked down on him, dismissed him as a boy toy, but he was surprisingly violent. The third son was known as the most vicious of the elders. They'd rather face the hot-headed head of the family than this third son. But now, Xia Tian was turning him into a pig. Stop, don't. Hit me. The third son stammered, lost for words, *snap, *. If you tell me not to hit you, I won't. Where's the fun in that? Xia slapped him again. No one dared interfere. Hit me. Hit me. The third son screamed, *snap, *. If that's what you want. Xia knocked him to the ground. Who's next? Xia turned his attention to the other elders. The remaining elders felt a chill down their spines and instinctively backed away. Xia seemed like a plague, *knock, knock, knock, *. Someone knocked on the door of the conference room. Chapter 43, Who Else? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Okay, so there's this meeting, right? And someone starts banging on the door. Usually, that means something important's going down, but the biggest drama in the company right now is this power struggle between Zeng Rou and the five old guys from the Zeng family. With that going on, nobody should be interrupting. Zeng Rou had even given orders before the meeting, no major emergencies, no interruptions. Period. So when they heard that knock, these five elders practically jumped for joy. They knew their guy had finally arrived. Once he showed up, their plan was a go, and the demon queen in charge wouldn't be able to keep running the show. I'll get it. The head of the Zeng family practically tripped over himself getting to the door. He'd been sweating bullets, worried he'd be Xia's next target. The knock was music to his ears. He opens the door, and in walks this totally average-looking dude in a suit, wearing glasses. Nothing special. What's this about? Zeng Rou frowned, looking at him like, who are you? Mr. Wang sent me with these documents, the suit guy says, heading straight for Zeng Rou with a stack of papers. The five elders? They're all grinning like they just won the lottery. They're sure this is the hitman Quicksand sent. Hold up, Xia says, mouth twitching slightly. He starts moving toward the suit guy. Suddenly, the Zeng family elders are a nervous wreck. This guy was practically on top of Zeng Ro, and now this wild card shows up. If he knows about Quicksand, he can't be just some random dude. They're practically holding their breath as Xia slowly approaches the guy in the suit, hearts pounding in their chests. Curious thing, Xia says, a slight smile playing on his lips, does your company have a dress code that includes military-issue boots? Then he taps the documents. Military boots. Everyone's looking at the suit guy now. What kind of employee wears combat boots to work? The guy in the suit instantly knows he blew it. He reaches for the documents with his right hand, and bam. A dagger appears and he lunges at Zeng Ro. He's going for her, but just as the dagger's about to sink into Zeng Ro, Xia's fingers clamp down on it. The killer strains with everything he's got, but the blade won't budge. The Quicksand guy scrambles back, whips out a gun from his waistband. The 5 elders practically explode with excitement. At this range, even God can't save Zeng Ro. Once she's out of the picture, they've got a clear shot at grabbing her shares. The killer fires as he's backing up. Click. Nothing. He pulls the trigger again and again, but the gun won't fire. Looking for these? Xia tosses bullets onto the floor, one by one. He'd swiped them when he got close to the killer, but the guy was too fast to notice. This killer's just a third-rate amateur, anyway. Xia figures taking out these guys is like swatting flies. Quicksand doesn't know his strength yet, but it won't be long before they realize he's not the pushover he used to be. Then they'll send a second-tier killer. Those are the real pros. Not just guys with knives and guns. They bring snipers, explosives, the whole 9 yards. No way, the Quicksand killer says, staring at Xia in disbelief. He's frantically calculating the power gap between them. Xia snatched the bullets without him even noticing. That means he could kill him just as easily. Think you're going anywhere? Xia smiles. The killer's legs go weak, and he collapses to his knees. Then Xia kicks him in the back of the neck, and he's out cold. Finally, the security guards show up. What do we do now? Zeng Ro asks Xia. Get Jay-Cha here, stat. And have these guys guard the door. It's not over yet. Xia turns and glares at the old guys from the Zeng family. The head of the Zeng family stammers, maybe we should just call off the meeting? Forget about it. Xia's on the great elder in a flash, grabs him by the collar. Don't think you're calling the shots here. What do you think you're doing? Zeng Ro, stop him. The great elder is freaking out. Just gonna rough you up a little, Xia says with a grin. He slams the head of the Zeng family to the ground, then methodically breaks each of his limbs. The other elders are screaming and scrambling to get out of the way. Xia looks down at the pile of writhing bodies. Anyone else? I'll give you a chance to walk out of here alive. Sell your shares to Zeng Ro, then wait for Jay-Cha to show up and turn yourselves in. Otherwise, you know what's coming. Xia's voice is cold as he looks at the 5 elders. Try to pull anything, and you'll find out what I'm really capable of. Of course, you can always tell Jay-Cha I did this to you. But good luck finding anyone who'll back up your story. Xia's not just threatening the elders, he's sending a message to everyone in the room. The meeting room is dead silent. You were all so chatty a minute ago. So reasonable. Xia scans the room, his eyes settling on the 5 elders. Around here, fists do the talking. Any objections? Zeng Ro asks, looking at the remaining shareholders. Dealing with these 5 could drag on for days, but now they're cornered. They're either going to cough up their shares, or turn themselves in. No, we've always supported President Zeng. That's right, President Zeng has poured her heart and soul into the Zeng group. We're happy to follow her lead. We're behind President Zeng all the way. They're falling all over themselves to show their loyalty. A carrot and a stick, that's all it takes. Nobody wants to get on Xia's bad side. Good. Then I'm announcing that, as of today, Xia will be the general manager of our company. He'll oversee all departments, Zeng declares. Seriously, Zeng? I don't know anything about this stuff, and I don't care to learn, Xia says, frowning. No problem. You don't need to know anything. Just wait for your paycheck, 20,000 a month. Of course, it's not exactly free money. If the company's in danger, you have to step up. Sound good? Zeng asks. You're really selling yourself short, Zeng. 20,000 a month to keep you safe. You're a bargain, Xia says, shaking his head. Does everyone agree? Zeng asks the other shareholders. Agreed. Everyone shouts at once. Hiring a bodyguard for 20,000 a month? Of course they agree. Cha finally shows up. Someone filled them in outside. There was a hitman trying to take out Zeng, but the problem's already been handled. The meeting room door swings open, and Xia's jaw drops. You again. Chapter 44, There is a bomb in the car. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Standing before Xia was none other than Nike's Lin Bingbing, and she was equally surprised to see Xia. After all, Xia had helped her finish a task the previous night, and now they were meeting again in a place like this. All right, everyone, line up on both sides. Gather all the evidence and take these witnesses away, a male officer shouted from behind Lin Bingbing, hands on his hips. Officer Jia, do you need any witnesses beyond those present? If you have any questions, you can ask us here, Zeng offered. I'm Officer Jia here, so you will listen to my commands. Guns are drawn, so everyone present is coming with me for questioning. The officer retorted arrogantly, making Lin Bingbing frown. Mr. Su, these people reported that someone was going to kill them with a gun, but they only killed 0 people. The 5 board members turned themselves in, saying they gave the order, Lin Bingbing said, trying to de-escalate the situation. Am I in charge or are you? Mr. Su snapped at Lin Bingbing, clearly dissatisfied. I'm now questioning the authenticity of this case, so everyone is coming with me for questioning. Mr. Su, right? My lawyer is standing right behind you. You can negotiate with him about anything. Otherwise, we're leaving, Zeng said, gesturing towards their legal team. A company as large as Group 0 was bound to have lawyers on hand. Are you trying to tell me how to do my job? Mr. Su shot back venomously. Arrest them all. I suspect they're part of a gang. Mr. Su, are you sure you want to do this? Everyone here is a public figure. You don't even have an arrest warrant, and you're arresting people without even asking what happened. I can sue you. The legal team stepped forward, confronting Mr. Su directly. Humph, Mr. Su scoffed. What are you all staring at? Arrest them. Mr. Su, you're violating protocol, Lin Bingbing finally protested. She couldn't understand what had gotten into Mr. Su. I'll take full responsibility. Mr. Su waved his hand dismissively, and the officers behind him moved to surround the group. Fine, we'll go with you. We'll see how this plays out, Zeng said, taking the lead. A dozen or so people followed, and Xia remained silent as he joined them. As they walked downstairs, Mr. Su made a frantic phone call. I did everything you said. Now let my wife and daughter go. Don't worry. Once you get them into the transport vehicle, and the 5 Zeng family members get in, you'll have them back. A sinister voice replied. When will you release my wife and daughter? Mr. Su demanded angrily. As soon as they're in the vehicle, I'll release them immediately. Mr. Su hung up and joined the group downstairs. There were 4 law enforcement vehicles waiting, including a large transport van typically used for prisoners. Everyone was stunned. Had Mr. Su known they were going to arrest so many people? You 5, in that car. The rest of you, into the van. Mr. Su ordered. Mr. Su, we're just going back with you to assist in the investigation. Why do we have to ride in a prisoner transport? If your precinct doesn't have enough cars, we have our own, Zeng Ro protested, eyeing the van. If they were seen in a prisoner transport, it would cause a huge scandal and tank the company's stock. They couldn't let that happen. Get in the car now, or I'll open fire, Mr. Su threatened, drawing his gun. Go ahead and try. We're not getting in that van, Zeng Ro challenged him. You think I won't? Mr. Su roared. Try me. A chilling voice echoed from behind Mr. Su. It was Xia Xia. He'd followed them downstairs not because he wanted to go to the police station, but to see what Mr. Su was up to. He now understood. There was a time bomb under the transport van. If Zeng Ro got in, it would detonate in minutes. Where did you come from? Mr. Su whirled around, aiming his gun at Xia Xia. I advise you to put the gun down, Xia Xia warned, his voice icy. How about I? Smack, Xia Xia slapped Mr. Su across the face, sending the gun flying. What are you doing? You're attacking an officer, Lin Bingbing said, frowning. Though she wasn't fond of Xia Xia, she didn't want to see him arrested after he'd helped her. Everyone, step back, Xia Xia told the others, although they didn't understand what he was planning, they obeyed him. After all, Xia Xia's actions in the conference room had made them wary. Xia Xia, do you know what you're doing? Lin Bingbing asked, worried. There's a bomb in the van, Xia Xia said calmly. What? You're saying there's a bomb in the van? Lin Bingbing gasped, shocked. Xia Xia walked to the vehicle and touched the fuel tank. A moment later, he held a bomb in his hand. The countdown was ticking down, with only 3 minutes left. Everyone, get back. Lin Bingbing shouted urgently. Mr. Su was speechless. He finally understood the plan. He thought the person only wanted to bring Zeng Ro and the others in for questioning. He didn't expect the real purpose was the bomb. Hauling Zeng Ro in on trumped-up charges would only cost him his job, but if so many people died, he'd be facing serious charges. Xia Xia, find an empty area to put that. Forget calling a bomb squad, we don't have time. Lin Bingbing yelled, sounding frantic. Everyone nearby had already scattered, and the Zeng group executives had retreated inside the building. Only Zeng Ro remained, staring at Xia Xia with concern. Why? Why? It's a proximity-triggered bomb. It's super powerful, and the blast radius is over 30 feet. Lin Bingbing shouted. She thought Xia Xia had lost his mind. With the clock ticking down, he was chatting with her. Just unplug it, Xia Xia said, casually pulling out a black wire. Everyone watching felt a chill run down their spines. In the middle of a crisis, he was actually defusing a bomb with his bare hands. Any mistake, and they would all be killed. Chapter 45, Level 2 Killer. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Time seemed to freeze, especially for the ticking time bomb. You idiot, do you have any idea how dangerous that was? Lin Bingbing stormed toward Xia Xia, furious. That was too close. If something happened to you, everyone around would have been caught in the blast. But it didn't blow, Xia Xia said calmly. I'm talking about what if it had blown up. Lin Bingbing snapped. Really, it wasn't going to. Here, take a look if you don't believe me. Xia Xia held out the bomb to her. That's a bomb. Don't just hand it over like that. We need a bomb squad to deal with this. Lin Bingbing carefully took the device, already having contacted the bomb disposal unit. Just then, Xia Xia's eyes tracked something, a faint, familiar line. That's a bullet's path. But what was the target? Xia Xia followed the trajectory and spotted Zeng Ro. The bullet had been headed straight for her. With lightning speed, Xia Xia darted to Zeng Ro, pushed her down, and twisted his own body to take the brunt of the fall. That way, Zeng Ro wouldn't get hurt. The bullet whizzed past where Zeng Ro had been standing, shattering the glass behind her. Down! Sniper! Lin Bingbing yelled, but even as she spoke, a second bullet was fired. This time, the target wasn't Zeng Ro, but Su. The bullet pierced his arm. Su's been hit. Everyone, take cover. Sister Ro, stay put. I hate snipers. I'm going to find him. Xia positioned Zeng Ro behind a pillar while everyone else scrambled for cover. This wasn't a drill, this was live fire. Seeing Su on the ground, bleeding from the arm, fear gripped everyone. The whole day had been strange. First, Su had been adamant about bringing Zeng Ro back. Then, a time bomb was planted in the car escorting her, raising suspicion about Su's motives, but now, Su had been shot, sending a clear message. No one dared to move. Bullets weren't something to mess with. As tension reached its peak, Xia stood up and stared at the roof of a tall building across the street. Damn, he got away. Xia picked up Zeng Ro. The shooter's objective was clear, Zeng Ro and Su, one shot each, then a quick retreat whether they hit or missed. That kind of skill and decisiveness wasn't something a third-rate killer possessed. This had to be a second-tier assassin, but this second-tier killer was proving harder to deal with than Xia had imagined. In their first encounter, Xia hadn't even caught a glimpse of the guy. Xia, what are you doing? Lin Bingbing shouted when she saw Xia standing up. He's gone. At that moment, everyone except Xia and Zeng Ro was still hiding. The cops were all searching for the sniper. Hearing Xia's words didn't make them lower their guard. It's you're my everything. Xia, get over to Jianghai University ASAP. Cousin, what's up? Tang Yan's challenging you again. This time, the entire starting lineup of the basketball team is here. What's that got to do with me? The basketball team captain is the son of the university's vice president. If you don't accept the challenge, he'll get his dad to shut down the arts department. Alright, I'll be there in a bit. Xia hung up. Seeing Xia had been on the phone for so long, everyone hiding in the corner finally stood up. The place was a mess, from the assassination attempt to Su's insistence on Zeng Ro riding in a booby-trapped car to the sniper attack. Mrs. Zeng, we'll get to the bottom of what happened today, Lin Bingbing said, approaching Zeng Ro. You know Xia. The woman's intuition was sharp. Yeah, Lin Bingbing nodded. Forget about today. If you need my help with the investigation, just contact my lawyer. Zeng Ro's meaning was clear. Because of Xia, she would let it go, otherwise Su and the J Inspection Bureau would be in trouble. Zeng Ro was a prominent figure in Jianghai City. Her corporation paid millions in taxes every year, making it a valuable asset to the city. Yet, she had almost been killed. If the authorities couldn't provide a satisfactory explanation, it would erode the sense of security among entrepreneurs. This was a serious issue, but Zeng Ro was willing to drop the matter, all because Lin Bingbing knew Xia. It could be said that Zeng Ro had given Xia a great deal of face. Lin Bingbing didn't know that Zeng Ro's words would lead to her promotion, allowing her to take over from Su's squad, because she had resolved the Zeng Ro incident. Su's wife and daughter were missing, of course, that was another story. Now that he had dealt with the 5 elders of the Zeng family and killed those quicksand killers, if the elders didn't keep paying up, Quicksand wouldn't send any more assassins. Although Quicksand's goal was to kill as long as they were hired, they weren't philanthropists. They couldn't keep sending killers endlessly. Like the assassination attempt on Zeng Ro this time, a third-rate killer would normally suffice to kill Zeng Ro, so the 5 elders of the Zeng family had only paid what that third-rate killer required. However, now that a third-rate killer could no longer kill Zeng Ro, Quicksand would need to keep sending killers, but only if they were paid extra. Because the original hirers hadn't mentioned Xia to Quicksand and Quicksand had now lost a third-rate killer, in general, Quicksand would send 2 third-rate killers to attack together. They were worried that the first killer would fail, so the second killer would attack at that time, but neither of the 2 killers would know when the other would attack. The 5 elders of the Zeng family spent a lot of money to kill Zeng Ro, not only hiring 2 third-rate killers, but also hiring a second-rate killer. Xia Xia had dealt with 2 third-level killers, and now there was 1 second-level killer left. As long as Xia Xia killed that second-level killer, the quicksand assassination would end, unless the 5 elders of the Zeng family continued to inject capital, but the 5 elders of the Zeng family had now surrendered, their funds had been frozen, and they could only stay in prison for the rest of their lives. Chapter 46, Kneel Down and Admit Your Mistake. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ro, I'm heading to Jianghai University. Come with me. Xia Xia didn't want to leave Zeng Ro alone, especially with that killer still lurking around. I'll make arrangements to go. Zeng Ro nodded, knowing Xia Xia was just looking out for her. She still had some loose ends to tie up. Xia Xia envied how Zeng Ro could sort out so much mess so easily. Hey, there's a basketball game at Jianghai University today. CNBA hasn't started yet, so it must be an exhibition game, right? Nah, it's about that basketball god from last time. What? The basketball god? The sharpshooter who couldn't miss. That's him, the one who smoked Fong Li. I heard Xue Chuan is using his dad's pull for revenge. His father's the vice president of the university. If Yi Qingxue doesn't agree, he'll shut down the literature and arts department. The Jianghai University basketball club is getting pathetic. I thought Tang Yan's leadership would make them better, but these are dirty tactics. Didn't you want to see that basketball god play again? Here's your chance. I haven't been able to track him down since that game. This is my shot. Yang Bugue was a basketball scout. She spent all her time in basketball, discovering talent and recruiting for the CBA. Most players were found and recruited from CNBA. She was blown away by Xia Xia's performance in that last game. She thought Xia Xia had superstar potential in every way. She tried to dig up any info on Xia Xia, but only found a great deal of nothing. I'm not letting you get away this time. Look, I think there's been a misunderstanding. I didn't know Xue Chuan would do this, I just heard about it myself, Tang Yan explained. I'll handle Xue Chuan. The student council is mine. No one dissolves any department but me, not even the VP. Hua Kis was pissed, and Tang Yan was speechless. She knew Hua Kis had serious clout, and she only got to be the basketball team's coach because Hua Kis had her back. Basketball was her lifelong dream. She wanted Jianghai University's basketball team to win the national championship, and she was working hard to make that happen. She busted her butt to get the team to accept a woman as their coach. I'll go talk to Xue Chuan and tell them to stop this circus. Tang Yan stood up to leave. No need. Yi Qingxue, who had been silent, spoke up. Kiss, Xia Xia is already on his way. I'm in charge of the literature and arts department, and it's my job to protect our reputation. Xia Xia. That's who you said stomped Wang Yanlin and trounced Fong Li. Hua Kis vaguely remembered Xia Xia, but didn't think of him as anything special. That's him. Yi Qingxue nodded. Fine, I'll agree to the game, but there have to be stakes. Hua Kis looked at Tang Yan. Whatever stakes you want, Kis. Tang Yan replied. Xue Chuan started this whole thing. If he loses, he kneels to Xia Xia and apologizes. You know how Xue Chuan is, Kis. There's no way he'll do that. Tang Yan replied. That's your problem. Meanwhile, at the basketball department. Hey, Xue, I heard the dragon lady got called in by Hua Kis. I know. Xue Chuan said grimly. You know how much pull she has. Looks like our game is screwed again. Can't mess with her. Xue Chuan always looked super serious. So we can't get revenge? Everyone at school is laughing that the basketball team lost to a bunch of art pansies, and at our own sport. Fong Li, get over here. Xue Chuan looked at Fong Li. Cap, think I look handsome again? Because I feel it too. Fong Li was his usual self-absorbed self. Is he really as good as you say? Xue Chuan knew Fong Li's skills, and he would not have lost by such a large score unless the other guy was really good. I've never gone up against anyone that strong. Fong Li could usually crack jokes, but since that game, if anyone mentioned it or that basketball god, he'd get serious. Do you know who he is? Xue Chuan asked. Nope. I had people check, but nothing. All I know is his name is Xia Xia, and Yi Qingxue invited him. Fong Li shook his head. If we could get talent like that to join the basketball team, we could actually win the national championship. Xue Chuan never seemed to crack a smile. The boss is back. Everyone looked at Tang Yen at the door. Tang Yen looked down and didn't say a word. Did the dragon lady kill the match? I knew that Shrew would shut it down. Guess we can't get payback. Everyone on the basketball team slumped. After losing to the literature and arts department, they were mocked everywhere they went. They planned to use this game to get their pride back, but after seeing Tang Yan's expression, they knew it was bad news. Just tell us, what did Hua Kiss decide? Xue Chuan asked. She said the game is on, but there have to be stakes. Tang Yan looked at Xue Chuan, knowing this was going to be tough, given Xue Chuan's personality. What kind of stakes? Xue Chuan asked. If you lose, you have to kneel and apologize to Xia Xia. Tang Yan frowned. What? That's too far, how could she say that? What's her deal? There's no way we're doing that. She's insulting the captain. Everyone knew Xue Chuan was proud. He never bowed to anyone, always aloof and serious. I agree. Chapter 47, I agree. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Xue Chuan was born with a silver spoon in his mouth. His father, the vice president of Jianghai University, held considerable sway in Jianghai City. From childhood, he was showered with praise. He was handsome, tall, rich, and the captain of the basketball team. Everyone on the team knew that when Tang Yan first joined, no one took her seriously. Back then, Xue Chuan's word was law, that is, until Tang Yan revealed her talent, leading the team to victory against a CBA squad in an exhibition game. Only then did Xue Chuan acknowledge her abilities. While the rest of the team started listening to Tang Yan, Xue Chuan merely gave her begrudging respect. The terms set by the hot kiss girl were harsh. Kneeling and apologizing was a blatant insult, but Xue Chuan understood it was her way of putting him in his place. He'd previously tried to intimidate Yi Qingxue, leveraging his father's position. This was about setting an example, using Xue Chuan to send a message. At Jianghai University, no one dared mess with hot kiss girl, not even Xue Chuan. Despite his father being the vice president, even the university president and board members would go out of their way to greet her. Hot Kiss Girl's family had serious clout. Her grandfather, the founder of Huiyun Corporation, the largest company in Jianghai City, was a war veteran. Huiyun's influence stretched far beyond Jianghai City, reaching into neighboring regions. Huiyun wasn't built on shady dealings. They had diverse interests, including movies, TV, real estate, and much more. Hua Kushi was the granddaughter of the company's founder and the most outstanding of the third generation. Xue Chuan was well aware of Hot Kiss Girl's power. His attempt to intimidate Yi Qingxue was a test to see if the basketball god lived up to the hype. To reach his level, you had to be a true master, not just someone from the CBA. Only NBA stars earned his respect. What did you say? Tang Yan stared at Xue Chuan in disbelief. Captain, did you hear right? That witch wants you to kneel and apologize. The team looked at Xue Chuan, confused. I know, Xue Chuan said, raising his head slowly. It's just a bet. I only need to kneel and apologize if we lose. If we win, we're in the clear. But Captain, that Xia Xia guy is pretty damn good, Fong Li said, frowning. Don't you have faith in me? I'm not playing alone. The whole starting lineup will be out there. I want to see if he can handle that. Xue Chuan said confidently, determined to go all out, fielding their strongest five. This was about overwhelming force. Xue Chuan, are you sure about this? Tang Yan asked seriously. Absolutely. Alright, everyone on the basketball team, meeting now. Tang Yan's voice echoed throughout the department. Jianghai University was known for its beautiful women. Even someone like Yi Qingxue or Tang Yan only ranked 4th or 5th. It was a testament to the high caliber of beauty. Each year, new freshmen arrived, many of whom were stunning, yet, the title of Jianghai University's #1 beauty never changed. Yunmiao was the undisputed queen. Someone once compiled a collection of her photos and actions and posted them online, immediately going viral. She was called the woman closest to a fairy, and seeing her was like witnessing a celestial being descend to earth. Everyone had only heard stories of Chang'e's beauty, but no one had ever seen her. Everyone at Jianghai University thought that even China couldn't compete with Yunmiao. She had an ethereal aura, seeming to radiate light wherever she went. "Senior, this is gonna be good," an ordinary-looking woman said, tugging at Yunmiao's sleeve. "You're so excitable, what's going on?" Yunmiao's voice was like a nightingale's song, transporting you to a magical place. "Remember the basketball god who caused such a stir the other day? He's playing the basketball team again. I heard that Xue Chuan is personally leading the team this time, and everyone's playing." "What's so interesting about that?" Yunmiao asked. "Senior, I have a feeling that basketball god isn't just anyone. Have you forgotten why we came here? What if this person has something to do with the Tongtian scroll? It's been years since I came to Jianghai City. I discovered that the incomplete scroll might be in Xia Shelong's hands, but he died, and news of the incomplete scroll vanished. Since then, I've heard nothing," Yunmiao said. "Hundreds of people were involved in that war across 12 countries, and no one knows who ended up with the fragment. Senior, sometimes the things we search for are just out of reach, but other times, we stumble on clues to the scroll simply by watching what's going on." "I can't believe you came up with that," Yunmiao said, shaking her head. "Senior, just come with me. I really want to see what that basketball god looks like." Okay, just this once," Yunmiao agreed. This basketball game generated a lot of buzz. The basketball team going up against the Ministry of Literature and Art's foreign aid basketball god was sure to be a spectacle. Everyone wondered if the basketball god could pull off another win, if his amazing long-range shooting would make a reappearance. Even reporters were catching wind of this. They were planning to broadcast the game live, eager to capture the basketball god's image. Although there were some videos of him from last time, there were no clear photos. Zeng arrived at Jianghai University with Xia Xiao. They had a conversation, and Zeng declared that what happened the previous night would be considered a dream and have no bearing on their future. From then on, she would be his sister, not his lover. It was a decision she'd made after much thought. She was older, Xia Xia was so young, and so talented. She didn't want her own selfishness to hold him back. Though Xia Xia insisted on taking responsibility, Zeng was firm, and eventually, Xia Xia had no choice but to accept it. Chapter 48, You Bite Me. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The literary and art group's location was easy to find, so they headed straight there. As they walked, they turned heads, mostly because of Zeng. She was stunning, catching everyone's eye. Zeng was a total knockout, a master of style. Unlike the girls around campus, her beauty felt more mature and confident. Guys couldn't help but stare, and girls couldn't help but feel a pang of envy. They arrived at the literary and art group space quickly. Yi Qingxue's brow furrowed the moment she saw Zeng. "Xia Tian, who's this?" Yi Qingxue asked, her voice cool. She eyed Zeng cautiously. Zeng was gorgeous, which made it hard to ignore her. She felt threatened, though she couldn't quite put her finger on why. "I'm Zeng." Zeng understood Yi Qingxue's vibe immediately. She'd been around the block enough to recognize that the woman in front of her had a thing for Xia Tian. She sensed Yi Qingxue's strong hostility right away. "Let me introduce you. This is my cousin, Yi Qingxue, and this is Sister Ro." "Cousin?" The other members of the art group in the room were stunned. "She's your cousin?" Zeng looked at Xia Tian, confused. Was she misreading the situation? Yeah, we grew up together, Xia Tian confirmed. Sister Shui, you kept that quiet. We always thought he was your boyfriend, one of the art group members exclaimed. They'd always assumed that Xia Tian and Yi Qingxue were an item. After all, Yi Qingxue was always there to help Xia Tian out of jams. Seriously, Sister Shui, you're killing us here. Some of us are still single. Sister Shui, I can cook and clean. Being your brother-in-law would be a dream come true, another teased. Ignore them, Sister Shui, he's just a flirt, someone else added. The girls in the literary and art group were practically swooning. In their minds, Xia Tian was Prince Charming. They hadn't forgotten his heroics during the last basketball game and karaoke night. Hey, Brother Tian, I'm low maintenance and super agreeable, a girl from the literary and art group, Hua, said shyly, making a direct move on Xia. I didn't know you were so forward, Zeng said, amused by the scene. Huh, Xia chuckled awkwardly. Sister Ro, even you're teasing me? I'm serious, Brother Tian, the woman persisted. Alright, knock it off. You guys aren't here to find dates. Get a grip, Yi Qingxue snapped, glaring at the others. Hearing Yi Qingxue's words, the girls stopped their flirting, but continued to wink and giggle at Xia. Yi Qingxue, come outside. Shui, we've got trouble. It's the guys from the sports team, a girl from the art group burst in, panicked. Sports team. Xia turned and headed outside. Well, if it isn't Xia Tian. I thought you were still hiding. What brings you out today? Yen Su recognized Xia Tian. He couldn't recall his exact look at first, but after a moment, he remembered him right away. Who are you? Xia asked, looking at Yen Su blankly. Come on, don't play dumb. I'm the one who played basketball with you last time. Don't tell me you forgot me already. Yen Su sneered at Xia. Nope, can't say that I do. But I do remember the babes, Xia replied casually. Humph, Yen Su scoffed, convinced that Xia was mocking him. I don't care what you're up to. We're here for you today. You want what? Xia Tian asked. We want to compare our training programs to yours, Yen Su stated. Are there any babes involved? Xia asked again. Our sports team is all guys, Yen Su said angrily, feeling like Xia was messing with him. Then I'm not interested, Xia said flatly. Too bad. You don't get a choice. You're gonna compare with us whether you like it or not, Yen Su said, blocking Xia's path. Smack, Xia slapped Yen Su across the face, shocking everyone. No one expected him to react so quickly, or with so much force. Yen Su was on the taller side, so it wasn't easy to slap him like that. You dare hit me? Yen Su yelled, covering his cheek and glaring at Xia. Yeah, so what are you gonna do about it? Humph. Team leader Li's face was dark. One of his guys just got slapped, which was totally disrespectful. The sports team always had a reputation for being tough, and no one messed with them because of it. Now, one of his guys had just been beaten. You can't get away with this, Yen Su spat, looking at Xia, but he also knew he was no match for Xia, so he retreated behind team leader Li. Just then, Xia kicked him in the butt. Yen Su went sprawling face first onto the stone ground. When he got up, Yen Su's 2 front teeth were gone. That's crossing the line. You gotta respect the chain of command, team leader Li said angrily, looking at Xia. Oh, is your boss here? Where is he? Xia looked around playfully, which made the art group crack up. How dare you insult me? Team leader Li said venomously to Xia. Team leader, you can't let him get away with this. He's disrespecting you. He kicked my butt, but that was a slap in your face, Yen Su sobbed, tears streaming down his face, and blood dripping from his mouth. Your butt is his face, Xia pointed out. You little punk, you're asking for it. Team leader Li yelled, kicking at Xia without warning. He was the head of the sports team, so he was very agile. Watch out! Yi Qingxue and Zeng Rou cried out at the same time, smack, star, the loud slap brought everyone back to reality. That slap was for the idiot behind you. You call yourself a leader with skills like that, smack, star. This slap was for you. You knew you were gonna get your butt kicked, so you put on a tough act. Smack. This slap was for the literary and art group. You were being too loud, disturbing people's lunch break, got it, smack, star. This slap was for the flowers and plants. You scared them, you know. Chapter 49, First Beauty. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Snap. That slap was for me. You know, hitting you guys is exhausting. Shock. Everyone was stunned. Even the sports department guys behind Minister Li were speechless. They never imagined things would play out like this. It felt like a dream, seeing Minister Li get smacked. Yan Su bailed from the crowd. He was genuinely scared of Xia. If Xia wasn't done having fun and decided to hit him next, he'd be a goner. The literature and art department folks were also freaked out by Xia's violence. Wah! Wah! After the shock, Minister Li actually started crying. Everyone was dumbfounded. The tough sports minister was crying, beaten to tears. It was too much. Even Xia was taken aback. The tough guy from before was actually bawling. Okay, I'm done hitting you, you don't need to cry, Xia said, sounding helpless. Wah! Wah! Minister Li cried even louder. Cry again, and I swear I'll kill you, Xia said coldly. Hearing Xia's words, Minister Li actually stopped. Now get lost and don't let me see your face again. When Minister Li heard Xia's words, he turned tail and ran without looking back. What are you guys still doing here? Need me to give you a ride too? Xia glanced at the sports department guys, and they all scattered in despair. Someone sitting not far away watched everything. Xia. He's kinda interesting. It was the girl known as Kiss. Instead of heading to the literature and art department, she turned around and left. The little episode didn't affect everyone's mood, because they all knew Xia had done it to protect the Ministry of Literature and Art. Xia was only ruthless towards his enemies. Today's game is going to be tough, Yi Qingxue said, looking at Xia. No sweat, Xia replied. I haven't even told you how tough it is yet, Yi Qingxue continued. It's okay, I won't lose, Xia said casually. Let me spell it out, all the 18 players from the basketball team are playing this time. Fong Li, who you played against last time, was just one of them, but this time it's 5. She laid out the situation for Xia. No sweat. You keep saying no sweat. Kiss got involved in this. She said that as long as you win, Xuechuan has to kneel down and apologize. I'm warning you, even if you win, don't make him kneel. People have their pride, and even though Xuechuan went too far this time, he doesn't deserve that. Yi Qingxue was worried about Xia's treatment of Tang Yan last time, when he chased Tang Yan to make her fulfill the bet. Although Xuechuan's words were out of line, Yi Qingxue knew he didn't mean it. He'd said it to provoke Xia. No sweat. The game was about to start. This time, Yi Qingxue didn't call in reinforcements but let Xia bring the 4 girls from the literature and art department to the court. Zeng Rou joined the literature and art department people in the infield. Everyone from the basketball team was there to cheer on the 5 players. The basketball babes, Tang Yan didn't let them dance, but that didn't stop their enthusiasm for cheering on the basketball team. Support for the Ministry of Literature and Art had increased, and some people even held up a sign of the basketball god, but instead of Xia's face, it had a picture of his back. No one had taken a picture of Xia in the last game, so they had to use his back. Look, isn't that Yun Miao, the most beautiful girl at Jianghai University? She actually came to watch the game. She's so gorgeous, I don't even have the guts to talk to her. Yun Miao's arrival drew everyone's eyes in the stands. The men all stared, but they were all too intimidated to approach her. They were overcome with feelings of inferiority. The seats were almost full, but when Yun Miao arrived, people immediately started giving up their seats. Yun Miao, come sit with me. It was Kiss who spoke. Although she and Yun Miao weren't close, they'd met before. Yun Miao nodded. Kiss's spot was great, and no one dared to sit near her, which saved Yun Miao a lot of hassle. Senior, that guy has to be the basketball god. Linger, there are so many people here, don't call me senior. Yun Miao said quietly. Okay, Sister Miao, that guy's the basketball god. Linger pointed to the only guy in the literature and art department who looked like a man. Of the 5 guys in the literature and art department, only Xia looked like a normal man. Nothing special, Yun Miao said, glancing at Xia. The game finally started. Jump ball. Go get bro Tian. None of those guys can compete with you. The 4 girls from the literature and art department all called Xia bro Tian. If you guys want to, go for it. What are you fighting for? Xia didn't even bother to jump for the ball. Go, basketball god. Linger in the stands shouted. Her voice drew Xia's eyes, but Xia wasn't looking at her. He was looking at Yun Miao beside her. Wow. Xia was at a loss for words to describe the woman's beauty. He was completely captivated. His perspective eyes opened involuntarily and scanned her, but he immediately discovered a problem. His perspective wasn't working. To test it, Xia looked at Linger beside her, but he still couldn't see through. What the hell is going on? Could my perspective be on the fritz? Xia turned his attention to Kiss again and saw through her. This time, he saw clearly. Kiss wasn't wearing a bra, just adhesive nipple covers. That puzzled him even more. Why couldn't he see through the 2 women? Did they have weird clothes? 2-0. While Xia was stunned, Fong Li scored a slam dunk and took the lead. I want flowers, and I want applause. I know I'm handsome, but I just want to be quietly good-looking, Fong Li said with his signature narcissistic pose. Xia's eyes stayed glued to Yun Miao. Her beauty was so captivating that he didn't want to look away. Boom. 4-0, Xia Tian, what the hell are you doing? Need me to kick your butt? Yi Qingxue shouted. Xia snapped out of it and reluctantly looked away from Yun Miao. Chapter 50, Tang Yen #039, S surprise. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Just when I was still reeling from the shock, the basketball team had already racked up 4 points. The 4 girls from the literature and art department were afraid to bother me. When they saw I was back to normal, they were relieved because they couldn't even handle one of the opposing players without me. Hey, what's the deal? Why haven't I gotten any good shots yet? Someone in the stands muttered, fiddling with his SLR camera. It's already 4-0. Those literature and art people don't know the first thing about playing, Yun Miao said dismissively. Don't worry, Miao. That basketball god was totally distracted by your beauty. He's about to explode any minute now, Linger said, looking at me expectantly. You don't seem too interested in this game, the girl with the fire-kissed hair sitting next to Yun Miao remarked. I just came with Linger, Yun Miao replied. I can't figure out what you're interested in, the girl with the fire-kissed hair said, shaking her head. At Qianghai University, she found Yun Miao the most enigmatic. She didn't seem interested in anything, never participated in any activities, never went out to eat, and ignored all the advances from rich guys. Regret, what are we doing later? Someone asked from another spot in the stands. We can't let him get away this time. I'm going to find out everything about him, Yang Bugue said, her eyes fixed on me in the crowd. The literature and art department inbound the ball directly to me. The basketball team fell back on defense, but I just took off from right under our own basket. A few days ago, people would have thought I was nuts for shooting from there. They would have said I had lost my mind, but now, everyone was tense, waiting for another miracle. Swish. Clean through the net, 3-4, the shot went in, no surprise. And the stands erupted in cheers. It was an incredible shot. That's the stuff. Yang Bugue exclaimed excitedly. Meow, look. Isn't he amazing? Linger shouted, practically jumping up and down. Yun Miao didn't show any emotion, but she nodded almost imperceptibly. Linger saw it though. The subtle gesture was enough to show Yun Miao agreed. That was amazing, Zeng Ro, sitting on the sidelines, said in disbelief. She wasn't a huge basketball fan, but she knew the game. She'd never seen anyone shoot like that. Of course. Did you expect anything less? Yi Qingxue replied, still feeling hostile towards Zeng Ro. She was convinced Zeng Ro and I had something going on, even without any proof. It was just a woman's intuition. Qingxue, you're talking like I'm yours, Bing Xian teased from beside Yi Qingxue. Oh, you want to make fun of me? Should I tell him about your secret drawings of him? Yi Qingxue said with a knowing smile. No way. Bing Xin blurted out. Good. Then you're on my side, Yi Qingxue said, meaning in their confrontation with Zeng Ro, seeing my shot, Tang Yen was floored. She'd seen NBA superstars in action while living abroad, but she was certain that no one had the talent I did, that kind of shot, that kind of accuracy. It was the stuff of future superstars, the real deal. Even Xue Chuan, who was playing against me, was stunned. He'd prepared himself, but seeing it in person still shocked him. Don't let him psych you out. Come on, people, get your heads in the game. We can't lose. Xue Chuan yelled, trying to rally his team. I was just admiring my own handsomeness, Fong Li said, striking another pose. Let's go, Xue Chuan said as he dribbled the ball. The five of them were determined to push into our territory. Boom. A steal. He saw me, but instead of passing, he tried to fake me out. I snatched the ball the second he turned. Swish. The score was 6-4. I got careless. I underestimated him. From now on, if I see him, pass the ball. Let's do some quick passes, Xue Chuan said, huddling his team together to strategize. The five attacked again. Xue Chuan dribbled the ball, and I moved towards him. But Xue Chuan didn't dribble. He passed the ball quickly to another player, who jumped to shoot. Boom. Block. Swish. 9-4, the shot went in again. The pass might have prevented me from stealing the ball, but their jump shot gave me enough time to turn and block it. That's some speed, Yun Miao finally said. See, Miao. Told you it'd be worth it, Linger said. You can't predict the speed and trajectory of the pass, but the jump shot revealed his intentions. It's incredible to be able to seize that opportunity and defend so quickly, Yang Bugue said admiringly. She felt I was flawless, I was just too strong. That was amazing, Zeng Ro said, even though she didn't really understand basketball, she was mesmerized by my skill. We saw it, you don't need to explain, Yi Qingxue said, looking at Zeng Ro with disapproval. Seeing Zeng Ro's expression only confirmed her suspicions. Tang Yen was in shock. In her opinion, I was perfect in every way. She was a coach, and part of her job was to improve players' physical fitness and technique, but she couldn't see any weaknesses in me. I didn't need to improve. My strength was off the charts. She believed that if I joined the NBA, I'd become a superstar in no time. If she had to describe me, she'd say I was someone she hated. She hated the way I looked at people with a suggestive glint in my eye, and she hated that I forced her to call me honey. But when it came to basketball, she admired me. I was the best basketball player she'd ever met. Not just a genius, because a genius meant someone could become the best in the future. I already was the best. If I entered the world of basketball, every other player could retire, because there'd be no point in playing anymore.